kar Uta Vardanya Shri Badra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Hum Om A Guru Vajra Dara Sumati Munisha Saneka Uta Vardanya Shri Badra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Pakyuke Kudan Dagilu Pakyuke Sundan Dagiyama Pakyuke Tugdan Dagiyi Tenyerme Çiktu Çingiyalo Makyuke Kudan Dagilu Makyuke Sundan Dagiya Makyuke Tugdan Dagiyi Tenyerme Çiktu Çingiyalo Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamunye Swaha Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamunye Swaha Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamunye Swaha Sangye Chedan Tsoge Chonam La Chancho Pardo Dani Kyapsu Chi Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonam Ki Drola Pinchra Sangye Drupar Sho Sangye Chedan Tsoge Chonam La Chancho Pardo Dani Kyapsu Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonam Ki Drola Pinchra Sangye Drupar Sho Sangye Chedan Tsoge Chonam La Chancho Pardo Dani Kyapsu Chi Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonam Ki Drola Pinchra Sangye Drupar Sho Nel Buddha
The Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, I take refuge until enlightenment. Through the practice of generosity and the other perfections, may I obtain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. A while ago, I started reflecting on the fact that the majority of rituals that are there, speaking inside the Buddhist context, if we go and check, the majority of these rituals originally were not rituals. Originally were some things where there was some importance, and to make sure that that thing will be repeated and remembered, then a ritual will be created. So it's formalized, that way of doing and so on, that in the beginning was spontaneous, something that It's not that it was structured in a certain way. Then as time passes and centuries pass, then it becomes structured so that to make sure that that thing goes on, both on a community level. So we have certain periods of the year where we have some ceremonies, some rituals that are done, and also on a personal level, individual level. And when we go and see about the individual level, there are some rituals that Buddha transmitted to us that are not only very important, but also they are present in all meditation practices, basically everywhere, which are called the seven branches. And we are told to do these seven things every day, which is like to pay homage, to make offerings, to revisit our past and admit openly our mistakes and learn from it, and to commit to not repeat these mistakes again. Then there is the part about rejoicing, which is celebrating, seeing the beautiful things that have been there, and saying, okay, really rejoicing, celebrating, kind of marking in our memory.
Quindi in qualche modo adesso c'è il celebrare, poi parliamo un po' di più del celebrare, e poi c'è la parte
And then there is the part about having clarity about what we want, having a vision of the future, and to dedicate, which is and dedicating, which is like kind of going back at the beginning of the path, which is like remembering, okay, why are we doing this? So indeed, when we finish doing something, we reconnect with the motivation, and then we kind of through that redirect again. One of the mistakes that, according to me, is a mistake that quite often is done is that unfortunately stays on a ritual level. So the ritual is created to remember something that it's important for us, but then eventually the ritual just becomes like a ritual. Have you done the seven branches today? Yes. Yes, when we have done the self-healing, I've done them. Yes, we have recited. Done. I can also do it in Italian. I prostrate with body, speech, and mind, and make internal and external secret offerings, visualized and effective. I admit openly all the mistakes. I rejoice of all the positive actions of myself and the others. I request to Guru Buddha to stay with me until the end of samsara and to turn the Dharma wheel, and I dedicate all the positive karma for the happiness of all beings. Done. But done what? I have recited. And so the point is that in our daily life and in life in general, it becomes very important, for example, to celebrate, to rejoice. And putting this together, I heard a psychiatrist speaking about her father, which was also is also a psychiatrist, and she was saying that when his father had to do couple therapy, usually when there is a couple therapy is because there is something wrong. So it's not like when they come there, it's the most beautiful moment in the relationship. And so the first thing that he has always done is that when the couple will come the first time, he will ask, how did you meet each other? And usually the way the couples meet each other, it's like a pleasant way. So what happens is that when you recall about a positive, nice thing that happened, physically the body reacts as if you are in front of that beautiful thing. So the oxytocin increases, the body reacts differently. And so for the couple, what happens? When the two remember the beautiful moment, they get into a more nice setting, and that creates a basis to face that conflict of the present in another way. Because if we come to the psychiatrist to kind of mediate and to help, and we start out by pointing the finger and I cannot live like this, and then we get like super stressed. And but if we connect with something positive, that already changes. But how can we connect with positive things that have been there if we don't do the fundamental work of fixating our memory on the positive things that have happened, the beautiful things that we have lived, experienced? For me, it becomes really important to be able to fixate our memory. Because when we celebrate, it means that we have had a nice experience, there has been something positive, and we try to fixate it in our memory. We like have a nice dinner together, we have a party, we verbalize how beautiful that it happened, thank you. We recognize that moment that has been there, and that helps to create a memory of the past, because the past remains to us in the form of a memory. And so when we are able to create memories of the beautiful things, when we are in front of difficult moments that will be there eventually, definitely, it's less likely that we will generalize the past through that difficult moment, because we have more like a moment to come back to, that it's also nice. And this is something that in this last period I try to reflect more on, and to say, okay, we have to celebrate more, we have to recognize the beautiful things, to rejoice, which doesn't mean to live in the world of Hello Kitty, in the sense that it's always all beautiful and all perfect. It's not that generalization, kind of a positivist, so to speak, where we pretend that the shadow is not there and the problems don't exist. It's not that, but it's having the attitude where one thing is one thing and another thing is another thing. So if there are some difficulties, that doesn't take away the nice, beautiful aspects, and the other way around. But in reality, when we're able to recognize the beautiful aspects, that helps us to give more strength to face what we have in front of us. So one of the advices that Buddha gave us, that it was very important, it was put like not only in the form of ceremony but also ritual. It's that we have to celebrate, to rejoice. And I've also found out that the word rejoicing doesn't exist in Italian. So in Italian there is another term, but not rejoice. There is, but I'm quite stubborn, and the nice thing of not speaking well a language, it's to be able to use words that don't exist, and so I really like to use rejoice.
Sembra meno profondo, o mi sbaglio? Rallegrarsi sembra carino, no? C'è qualcosa di più profondo.
No, it's like a quite profound thing to rejoice. And it's quite strange, because I cannot really also explain why so well, but I have the feeling that we have more difficulty in rejoicing and celebrating the beautiful things rather than seeing the ugly, bad, difficult things and feeling guilty. Ah, look how bad I have been. It's important to see the mistakes, the things that are not wrong, right, to be able to redirect and not repeat those things again. That is also fundamental. But it's also very important the part about rejoicing. And I see this on many levels. I see this in the national level, national scale. So, like if we go and check our healthcare system in Italy, there are many aspects. Some aspects are nice, others quite difficult. And so one thing doesn't take away the other, but we have the tendency often to take only the difficult aspect and to generalize on everything. It's not right, and the other way around. And when A while ago, I was looking. Cinzia prepared a presentation with all the activities that we had done during the year in the center with numbers and so on, like statistics. Ah, look, how nice. We have to rejoice. We have to remember the things that we have done, not like just like as an institutional thing. Oh, we've done this, this, and that. But no, it's more like a moment for us to say, wow. Because at the end, what's behind these numbers, these things? There is us. There is what happens inside of us. And for me, one of the most beautiful compliments that I received lately is, and that is something to rejoice about, that someone came to me, and I actually don't even remember who he was. I remember the face, but I don't have so much familiarity with that person, but I will use the same words. Look, Lama, I most really thank you a lot because I've been following the teachings for a while, the practices, and I must say that I feel much better. When I met the Dharma and I met you, my life was shit. I had many problems at a job, health problems, difficulty in the family, and then after some time following the teachings, and then my life is still shit again, but I feel better. And this for me was one of those things that made me say, wow, it works. So we changed the approach that we have towards life. And many people often come to me, look, Lama, thank you very much. In the moment of difficulty with the teachings, my life has changed. And, like many beautiful positive feedbacks that I receive. And what is behind these numbers, that is all the activities that we have done, it's the internal path of each one of us, which is the reason for which all of this exists. So, honestly, I don't have any attachment to the center, to the structure, to the house, to the temple, to the organization, to the association, all these things. The temple by itself and on itself, it's nothing, nothing much. The association by itself also doesn't say much to me. It's just more effort to keep to manage. If I had to think all about like a individual level, what what am I doing with such a big place? I like a place in the mountain that is solitary. You put me there with some books, some silence, and I'm happy. But the reason for which all of this has been created and for which it exists, and yesterday also I think it was got published like a video from Albagnano Rinpoche where he was talking about this, is that the reason why all of this exists is so that people are able to realize the Dharma, which means to love ourselves and to have a more sane approach towards life, to develop more awareness, wisdom. This is the main goal. And the good news is that it works. So all of us here, eh, we are here because we have received some benefit. Otherwise, it wouldn't make any sense to be here. We are not coming from this culture. We often do things that it's not in our language. Many things don't match on some aspects, but we receive a benefit, and this benefit touches us, and something moves inside of us. And so I wanted, first of all, today to celebrate, to rejoice, and to invite everyone to remember this beautiful aspect of feeling this joy for the path, for the internal path that each one of us is doing, that for each one that during this year has got closer to the center. I know many people that have never listened a Dharma teaching, never recited a mantra, that come here because, and they tell me, like, yeah, I come here because when I come to the center, I feel at peace. Like maybe suppliers also, that try to come here with a bit more time. Also artisans that have done like maybe jobs at the center that really are willing, very much willing to come here because they feel at peace also. And what does this mean? That the center is doing its function, that is to touch the heart of everyone and to move and to proportionate a state of peace in a world where that space is difficult to find, but luckily it exists. And so I would like, first of all, to rejoice about this and about the internal path of each one of us, both who's coming here directly and also following the activities of the teachings and so on. Tomorrow we will start a new camp with kids, because usually there is like a summer and winter camp, and when kids have finished the last winter camp, they say, no, no, we want more, we cannot wait 6 months. So we are going to do another one with them from tomorrow, and I've seen like beautiful transformations inside of them, of which I rejoice profoundly. And so also we rejoice about who is following with the streaming at home that is maybe far away, and all of this is possible because we have this here. And so it's both like rejoicing the beautiful things, and then yes, there are all the numbers, we have done many teachings, many pujas, yes, but what is really there to rejoice about? What does what does this tell? What is behind all of this? And then when we remember about the beautiful things, that creates a positive energy inside of us. So if we use a modern term, when we remember something beautiful about ourselves and the other, we develop oxytocin, the body feel well. And if we look from the point of view of the Dharma, when we are able to be happy about the happiness of the other, for something virtuous of the other, we ourselves, we generate many positive, much positive energy through that. So it's a particular opportunity. And so today I would like to quickly revisit what has been, what this year has been, and I would like, I liked to share this that Cinzia did, and then I will also briefly give a hint about what we would like to do during this year, where we are going. Cinzia would like to explain something. Would you like to do it together? How do you prefer? First of all, thank you, Lama Rinpoche, thank you, Lama Caroline. Yes, I will ask you some comments. So let's start. Start with the Buddhism magazine of the UBI, because it was asked to Malau Michel to write an article about making community, and it was very interesting. And there are some passages that also the magazine highlighted. And it said, okay, among our many needs, there is the need of belonging, of sharing, of giving and taking, of loving and being loved, of sharing a dream, and of walking together. To live together in peace, cultivating peace, eternal peace, as the most solid foundation for world peace. Only with a solid Sangha and in harmony is possible to sustain, preserve and to spread the Dharma from generation to generation. And this is an article, it's not only nice, it's not about this, but there is much content inside of this, as Lama was saying. I don't know if he wants to comment. A few words is the fact that when I was asked to write something about community, one of the things that I've seen and about which I rejoice is that in the past years, here in Albagnano, what has happened is that there has been like a greater maturity in the community. And this is something very important also in our spiritual path. We need the guidance, we need the practice, and we need the community. The spiritual path is not a lonely path, it's an individual path in the sense that no one can do it for us, but we cannot do it completely alone. And more I've seen this aspect of the force, of the presence of the people in the community, one sustaining the other, and of having people that have like a similar life and have like a direction going against the current of what the society normally does, but that is shared with with other people in a very beautiful way. So I've tried somehow to put it in words to remember that even if we live in a time where the tendency is to go more and more towards individualism, towards extremes, this autoreferential individualistic thing in any aspect of the way of living. Here, somehow, it's not the only place. There are many others, but we have managed to create a reality where there is a sharing, where there is like a something together, and this, for me, is something really beautiful and to rejoice about.
Allora, un altro aspetto importante dove magari vuoi commentare anche tu sono gli insegnamenti di Lama Michelle,
So another important aspect
dove ci sono
are the
21 insegnamenti.
teachings on Lama Tenzin Shakdeb from Lama Michel, where there have been
discussione.
21 teachings and 39 discussion meetings. One of the things that I feel that are lacking sometimes is the possibility to go deeper. We often are in a context where we do things quickly, we want everything chewed already, and we don't have a context where we can study and go deep on things and to try to understand something that initially is difficult. And here we have created this. It was asked to me to give teachings on this text, which is a text rather difficult actually. And so we have started this study group, and personally I've been very happy because I've seen greater participants than I expected, and also dedication, the joy of being able to study and to know, and which is also a way to deepen the knowledge of Dharma. I thought there would have been like 15 people, but we started out with 80, more than 80, and we're really with this uh, will. In the past months, I've not been very present because I had to travel, but this is where we will continue with this course. We have come to the verse 150 of about 530, so there is still much road in front, ahead. And I welcome everyone to also approach this and to listen what has already been said about it. And for me, actually, I thought there would have been there were much less than 21 teachings.
Education, un po' accennato anche
Yeah,
Lama
we're talking about
Michelle.
inner education.
Il
Also,
tema del
Michel
2024 è stato
said already something
l'impossibile
about this. The
diventa
theme was of the
intercampus,
2024
summer
was
camp e
the
genitori.
impossible becomes
Abbiamo
possible.
avuto un totale di
We have
74
had a total of
partecipanti.
74
Questa
participants,
realtà di
and
inner
this reality
education
of
ha
inner
incontrato
education
anche le
has
scuole
met
della
also
zona
the
di
schools of the
Albagnano
area, also in
comunque,
Milan,
e gruppi
and
di
groups of
ragazzi, di
kids
persone
and
diversamente
people
abili.
that
Quindi questo
with
è
handicap,
un accogliere
and this is
veramente
also welcoming
dai 9 anni in
really
su,
people from
tutti,
9 years
tutti
old
i ragazzi
on,
che vivono
all the
l'aspetto
kids that live the
scolastico.
scholastic
E
life.
per quanto riguarda Milano,
And
che
concerning Milan,
dal 2016 facciamo
that's
parte di questo
where
progetto Scuole di
from
Milano,
2016 we are
dove ha
part of this
organizzato
project
l'Alberto
Schools of
Pasolini,
Milan.
poi anche la
It was
Nominei, che ringraziamo perché
started
per
by
tanti anni ha portato avanti questi progetti. Ma nel 2024 abbiamo incontrato
in
13
2024
classi,
we have met
26 ore
13,
e un totale
13
di
classes
520
for
bambini.
26 hours
E
for a
queste per
total of
le elementari.
520
Poi per le
kids, and this
scuole
is for
medie
elementary schools. Then for
abbiamo
middle
incontrato
schools we have met
560
around
adolescenti. È stato
160
un
teenagers, and
impegnativo
it's challenging. It's
come,
quite
diciamo come
as an
attività,
activity,
però è stato
but
molto creativo
it has
grazie
been
alla
very creative
Rossio che
thanks to Rocio,
ha ideato
which has
diciamo delle modalità di
come
approccio
up
con i
with
ragazzi,
some
con i
ways to
bambini molto
approach
interessanti.
kids that are
Diventa
very
gioco,
interesting. It becomes like
però
a play,
veniva fuori veramente molto.
but
Ecco.
much will come out of it.
Poi
Then in August there has been Dharma in Nature, like a week in contact with the five elements, where La Michel, there have been teachings with La Michel, there has also been Anfossi, Elkanah, Rohir, and Abin. And this has given us some breath to these days. Then there has been music and spirituality, there have been many meetings. We also remember that here at the temple, the first violinist of Milan came here, and there has been a really nice also meeting with Michel. Quite quickly, for me, one of the most beautiful thing about to rejoice about this week that we have done. Many of you have been here. It's to find refuge in nature. So the fact of going every day to do the practice in the woods, it has been for me one of the most beautiful things that we have done, that we should also continue, because we have to learn to live the nature and to take refuge in it, because it's really great for us and it welcomes us in a different way other than just taking a walk, to also sit in the woods and to do the meditation there in the woods. It has been a really nice thing, and I would like to repeat it if it's possible. This year, the next year, and this for me, it's a really important thing to rejoice about, the possibility that we have had and that we still have of being in a context where there is nature that welcomes us and that is accessible. For example, I have tried to do something similar in Brazil last time I was there, and I couldn't manage to do it because nature is different. It's not that you get into the woods like here, there, let's go to the camp. No, but there it's like so dense and so full of snakes, and no, I'm not getting there at all. It's all protected, and it's also quite difficult. Like you um, you walk a bit, and then there are monkeys, and you need a different kind of respect towards the nature. Like we have like a kind of gentle woods. It's there are really not many dangers. Brazil is a different nature and it's respected in a different way, but what we have here is very special. So for me, the fact that we have created like a sort of extension, we have broadened the temple outside the walls and brought it to the woods. It's very one of the very nice things that we have done this year and that we should continue with, because we really need it, and this is something that I wanted to also welcome everyone, to just come here, and when you have like a lunch break from work or whatever, to go in nature and sit there, meditate, recite mantras, and so on. Only one thing about inner education, the most beautiful thing to rejoice about is that I've had the honor to check is the internal path that each one of the kids have done. And for me, who has been close to that knows what I'm talking about, but for me, this is really like one of those things of which I'm more proud, because seeing these kids that are doing like a really sincere and profound path and are having experiences which is not understanding something, but have like a deeper experiences that then leave a mark on them. So I would like also to thank the um, people from Wild Theater, Teatro Selvatico. They're also coming here today.
Eventi e giorni di Dharma. Volevo evidenziare.
I would like to highlight also about the Kumpan of Milan, because lately it got much more active, and there isn't only the Safing of Wednesday and the Guru Puja, but there are also many other events. So also thanks for Milan that it's getting more active with much passion.
Comunque ci sono 13 eventi come tipologia di eventi con 138
So there
giorni.
are 13 events
E hanno
and
anche
128
altri
days.
eventi tipo
Then there are also other
mindfulness,
events
Reiki, le
such as
costellazioni, l'astrologia,
Reiki,
quindi
mindfulness,
anche
familiar
qui si sta
constellation,
sviluppando
and
di più
so on.
l'attività.
And so here also the activity is getting more, it's expanding.
Adesso partiamo con Albagnano
So now we
e
start with Albagnano,
abbiamo appunto
and
fatto un po' una
we
suddivisione
have
degli
made a
eventi.
division of the events.
Le tipologie di eventi sono 8,
The,
ci
the,
sono
the
stati
types of
ritiri
events are
in
8. There
totale
are
di
all these
49
retreats
giorni.
for a total of 49 days.
Abbiamo
Then we have the teachings from La Michelle,
esclusi i ritiri
excluded the
per
retreats in
l'inverno.
Milan.
Abbiamo appunto Danzi Shabde,
We have the Daxi
l'ispirazione dei
Shakdev, the
ritiri,
morning inspiration,
religione
the
guidata, morte,
guided
bhakti,
self-healing,
lojong, che è
death by
meditare,
doing and
lojong,
rebirth, how
prese
and
di
why to
rifugio, lo
meditate,
studio
Lojong,
rituale, la
the
meditazione.
refuge, the Heart Sutra
Una cosa che
meditation.
volevo anche evidenziare
Something that I will also highlight that it was very important for me is that we have done all these various retreats, and a retreat is where a moment where we allow the participants to go deeper on a certain practice in meditation. And there has been the retreat of Vajrayogini, both in the, so to speak, traditional way. It's not the most correct term because the tradition also needs to kind of
ne ho fatto uno seguendo la metodologia che
um,
viene utilizzata da tanto tempo in Tibet, eccetera. E poi
but we have used the methodology,
seguendo la
and also
strada
Lama Caroline also guided another retreat following the way that Lama Ganchen transmitted. I didn't participate to that, but I received many positive feedbacks.
Certo, no? Quando stiamo parlando di comunità.
When we are talking about community, okay, for me community is
Credo che
an also moment. I see,
tantissime cose qui in tanti posti. Personalmente io vedo il mio ruolo,
personally, I see my
Rinpoche visitando tanti
my role as visiting many places.
le stesse pratiche, tutto come Rinpoche ha sempre fatto, no? Per esempio, no?
For example,
Recentemente abbiamo fatto
recently we have done this beautiful retreat of Vajrayogini, and now we're also going to Brazil, as Rinpoche has always done, to share the same things. Also,
vado sempre in giro.
I always go around. I can say that I see that our word, the small word, is going good. There are small difficulties, they are always there, like in samsara. But in general, everything is going well with our group, so I feel proud about this, because bit by bit, not only is beautiful and I relax, but all our friends and in the world, like Brazil, Italy, France, bit by bit, they are more united. There is more friendship. So, bit by bit, of course, it has been a very difficult blow, the fact that Rinpoche passed away, but we are flying again like the two wings with of the Nalso word.
Dhamma Lama Sankara, etc. Anche le cose belle che Lama Ganchen ha creato.
Also the beautiful things that Lama Ganchen created for the modern world. So if I feel very happy about this. For example, we have done like was it like living with the Kinis, the commentary of Lama Ganchen, and we are getting. We are preparing the teachings of Vajrapani, so bit by bit I would like to revisit all the beautiful things that Rinpoche shared with us. So these days we are talking about Kali Yuga. Lama Ganchen always said he created this style that is more accessible in the Kali Yuga for getting up from the Kali Yuga. So beautiful, let's go on with this until we can. beautiful, we're doing nice things, no? So, very happy about it. Thank you.
Grazie a noi.
Thanks to us
Noi qui e noi in Spagna.
here and in Spain, Argentina, Malaysia, Germany, Netherlands. Thanks.
Ok, dunque gli insegnamenti di Lama Michel sono esclusi ritiri e Milano, parliamo di 10 tipologie di eventi come abbiamo detto.
So the events from La Michelle, we are speaking about 10 types of events in 66 days.
Allora, insegnamenti Lama
Teachings from
Michel,
Lama Caroline. There
sono
have been
preghiere per
4
messaggeri di pace,
the
20
prayers for
pratiche
messengers of peace,
combinate, insegnamenti
combined practices, teachings and self-healing also, and practice for obstacles removal. 4 types of events, 14 days in general.
No, se vuoi.
Ci sono, anyway, c'è ancora tanti insegnamenti.
There are still many teachings from Rinpoche that we are trying to digitalize and to transcribe. Rinpoche has been more than generous with us, has left so many practices, so bit by bit we are going through them and to understand the essences of all these
Siamo super
jewels that Rinpoche left for us. We are super lucky.
Non ricordo cosa facciamo.
I don't remember what I...
Stiamo proprio rieditando il libro di Vajrapani.
We are re-editing the book of Vajrapani. I see this as very important because it's a word that is too confused. People are very unstable, so I see really a moment to do the practices of Vajrapani. We will do the best that we can, you know? Together we can. As Lama Michel was saying, it doesn't depend only on us. If there is no one there, what do we do?
Tante altre cose.
Many other things.
Anyway, no? No.
No, una cosa importante da rigioire.
One of the important things to rejoice about,
Faccio un esempio.
I make an example. I have been in Tibet to receive teachings about the Tantra of Guhya Samaja. I received the teachings of the generation stage, completion stage, and one day, as I was speaking with my master, there was one of the great experts of this argument in Tibet. He said, look, it's difficult, because those who spend the first 15, 20 years in the monastery studying philosophy at the monastery then are those that have the capacity of understanding the real meaning that it's in these practices. But after so many years studying philosophy, they are not able to go so deep on the practices of meditation because they don't really have the energy of memorizing and studying the practices. Those who dedicate all their lives to the practices can do them really by heart but cannot understand the deeper meaning. So now it's quite few those who can connect with the deeper meaning of this system because it's like a system that was taught in a context where what would you do as a full-time? The full-time job would be to practice Guhya Samaja. So now this is not really the reality also in the great monasteries of Tibet. Maybe there are like many few people, maybe like if among 1,000 monks, maybe we have like a handful of monks that can do it. So Rinpoche made it possible for us to access the deeper meaning in an accessible way. So we are able to see this and feel this more also when we go also and see the more complex explanation. When I studied Guhya Samaja, I understood many things because they were the teachings of Lama Ganchen Rinpoche. So also with the self-healing and all the methods that Rinpoche gave us are really some useful tools for the times that we are in, but actually for all times. And it's really beautiful to be able to access the teachings of Dharma and meditations, being really in touch with the meaning and not just being in the symbology as symbology, not understanding what it represents. This is something that often happens. It's a bit as if, sorry if I put it in these terms, but yesterday, at the beginning of the year, we have done this thing of throwing the flower. I asked, what does it mean to everyone? And no one there knew what to say. And then I went to ask artificial intelligence. Also, the Geshe didn't know, and no one could give me a concrete answer. Geshe Chancho gave me an answer, but it was like something that he made up in that moment. I was trying to imagine giving a meaning to something. Then making a research was similar to that. But what happens often is that when something becomes a ritual, then eventually you lose touch with the core meaning. So what Rinpoche did was getting out of the ritual and getting in touch with the deeper meaning. And so this is very special thing that we have to rejoice about. And Rinpoche, Amakancha Rinpoche gave us a notion of teachings that you will need like lifetimes to put together. So he gave us so many different systems because we are different. So then eventually one just needs one system that is done well, doesn't need to do all of it. But then also who needs to share these things needs to learn them all, like Lama Caroline and me, but this is something else. A question about this, Cinzia? In the following page, I didn't understand how are the 1187 days in the year.
Eventi e giorni, perché se dico solo 12 eventi, però quanti giorni abbiamo impegnato?
So how many?
La Guru Puja tutti i giorni.
So there is the Guru Puja every day.
Le pratiche, c'è l'autoguarigione tutti i giorni.
Self-healing, there are the weekly practices, and I put all the events together, how much was it repeated?
Però sono 1187 giorni di fatto di eventi. Siamo gli unici che facciamo tutto questo. Poi abbiamo puge, cerimonie, celebrazioni speciali, abbiamo 16 eventi per un totale di...
We have puja ceremonies and special celebrations, 16 events for 41 days, the celebration of the Paranirvana of Lama Ganchen Rinpoche, the long life celebration, the puja of Eruka, Loser ceremonies, Kansor puja, Sakadawa, Vesak, Sand Mandala of Yamantaka, special practices. Something that I would like to rejoice about is like also like, okay, there is like one side there is rejoicing, and sometimes that also comes with another side of kind of self-esteem, like a bit of arrogance in a way. There is something that sometimes we don't understand. When we take the texts from the deeper Tantra, more detailed and so on, it is explained. There is a very fundamental thing, there is the initiation. That is done like in 3 types. There is the initiation of receiving it from a master that gives us the initiation. There is the self-initiation. And then there is the practice where you give the initiation to the sacred beings. In few words, that is to give blessings, and this is the practice of Rabnichenma. It's a practice where the great masters always gave much importance to, and it's a system to kind of regenerate the sacred places, the sacred objects. And Lama Ganchen Rinpoche was something that he put a lot of emphasis on. And unfortunately, both on the Eastern and Western world, there are always fewer people that are able to do these practices because they're complex. And often also in the monasteries in India, they don't repeat these practices. And when they've seen that we've been doing this practice for every year, actually in all the West, there hasn't been any other center that is doing. I want to say even like once a year or once or every 3 years. It's not there. So majority also haven't done them not even once. And this is not to say, oh, look how special we are, but look how what a great opportunity that we have, because these are things that are really important. And so it's not that it's not done anywhere. But because they say, no, it's complicated, it's difficult, it will be really nice, and one of the things that Lamaganchen taught us, and I'm proud that we continue with it, is that the impossible becomes possible, believing in the impossible. And here everything was born in this way, also doing Rabnechemo and doing the Sun Mandala that is done every year. I liked to do the Sun Mandala because also in the West, um, there is this thing that the sand mandala it's became like just an artistic thing, but no, actually there is a whole meditation that is done either both before, during, and after. And so here we were able to implement this sand mandala, and here also is one of the few places where this happens, and so it's important to value this. And this year will be in the period of July. We will do again Rabnichemo, Sam Mandala, and so it's really an important time for everyone to participate and feel, understand. And speaking about this, I've done the English translation of Rabnichemo, so so that we can publish something like this, because it's really nice for you to follow. For example, I know that you're all busy with the publishing and all of that, but we've done Rabin Shemo for years, and almost no one understands something. So we have done the translation, so this time we can read. Beautiful. All these practices are beautiful, but anyway, let's do this. Let's see, there are many people involved from the practical point of view, but let's at least try to make it so that everyone can follow. Ramacemo, actually, in no center in Europe is done aside from here. We have done in the Netherlands, actually, the Manibatra. We have been doing the Rabnechemo also in the Netherlands. Then there are the events that are connected to the lunar calendar. So, for example, the Mahayana precepts, the puja of the four mandala of Tarachitamani, the puja of Medicine Buddha, the self-initiation of Vajrayogini, and the practice of Yamantaka, and the ritual of the 1,000 offerings to Lama Tsongkhapa. So it's 6 events, 142 days. Then we go to the pilgrimages that are always more and more. There is the Sacred Valley of Kathmandu. There is the pilgrimage in Tibet and China. There was the International Congress of Buddhism, where Lama Vinchem participated, and there have been the visits from Lama Michel to Trinjan Rinpoche. Pilgrimage is important because it's a moment where, like being together while you're traveling, it's different rather than just being together for a few hours. So you get to know each other in a different way. It's a beautiful human aspect. Majority of times is nice, but then there are also exceptions. Then the other fundamental point is that doing the pilgrimages is one of the things that Lama Ganchen transmitted to us. That in order to do an internal movement transformation, it's fundamental to do a pilgrimage. So I made the choice. Okay, I cannot do all the pilgrimages every year, otherwise I do just that, which means going to Tibet, to India, to Nepal, to Indonesia, and so on, and it becomes really difficult. So the choice was to do one pilgrimage for each year. So last year we have done Nepal, this year we will go to Tibet, then coming back from Tibet, we will go through Nepal. And for Tibet, we have sent a form for who was interested, and shortly we will send information about the journey and share some details in doing some meetings. And I just wanted to share something important. Who is interested this year? We have the goal to go to the Kailash. I also know that Caroline, even though it's a private thing, I would say it, bought the uh, the treadmill, because he had to train.
Perché ho tolto lei vive in una casa molto piccola.
She lives in a small house, and in the middle of the living room she has put the treadmill because she has to prepare for the Kailash. So what I wanted to say is that if we want to do this journey that I personally really care about a lot, we need to start to prepare physically. Don't wait a lot, because it's something that if we want to do it, then there will be the possibility. I imagine when we are there of not doing the complete journey around, but just doing the first day and then going back, which still it's those 17 kilometers walking at 5,000 of altitude. So it's quite flat. Then from the second day of the Kora, they need to step up for about 600 meters. And once I have walked at 5,000, doing some steps, and I remember that every 3 steps I had to stop, so you need preparation. And I personally am trying to kind of break my mental image of me not liking exercise, but rather to prepare about this. And so I invite everyone that wants to do this to prepare physically, because it's quite jokingly we said, okay, who wants to come to Tibet? To central Tibet, you need to put aside time and money. Who also needs to come to the Kailash, you need also time, money, and health, because it's not just a joke. And so briefly we'll do some meetings to share the details with everyone. But I'm very happy that we are able to give a continuity to these journeys, and we are also trying to see how we can come back to Borobudur with a group. Probably Lama Caroline will do a journey, will lead a journey in November. Let's see, we're trying to see a few things. So.
Allora, a Milano c'è stato un evento.
In Milan, there has been an event, the Lama Michel, where Lama Michel gave teachings about Buddhist philosophy adapted to daily reality, because it was done at the BAM, which is the tree library in Milan.
Ok, quindi totali. Abbiamo 55 eventi per un totale di 1637 giorni.
So we have a total of 55 events for a total of 1,637 days. As always say that he lived 500 years in this way. And so checking the activities of the other centers in Italy, or that are part of the Italian Buddhist Union, there is no comparison, real comparison. We, during the years, have made some statistics, and so in 8 years it's 11,921 events. Two important things. This morning I received a message from Trija Rinpoche wishing with the wishes for New Year. The voice of Trija Rinpoche is something really special, at least for me. So,
She did a losaki. And then you Mushisha Namdra to do Makamisha Chumason to a marriage day chick. Day and Mashim Chint on the day to message Nasha somebody. Rumchen part somebody share down. Rumchen. Karshuta Lodelia. Any Ungam Sambodang. Dana Shin Chujo Chawatata Lunju to be. Manningham Madam Shui. Dana Shin Rumjin. Big Gidu. You did but some long somebody. Down Losa Tatas. Madam Shui.
L'ultima parte riguarda
The last part was about everyone, where he was saying that he would like to share his wishes for the new year with everyone, that we are together, wishing everyone to be able to be well in this year and to be able to see each other soon. And so this is for me something to really rejoice about, that is important, because I remember one of the things that Trijja Rinpoche, for who doesn't know Trijja Rinpoche, there is this picture there, is that is the reincarnation of the master of Lama Ganchen. And one of the first times that he came to Milan, here, while he was still all with cement, there would be only the statues of the Buddhas, and Rinpoche did here the initiation of Amitayus with Trijja Rinpoche. It was one of the first times that he came here in 2004 or something like that. One of the feelings that I had in that moment, that it was very deep, it was like, the day that Lama Ganchen Rinpoche will no longer be here physically, then I know that I have someone that I can rely on. And I rejoice deeply that as I thought about that 20 years ago, still it's like that today. So Trijja Rinpoche, for me, it's one of the beings, most realized beings that I've ever met, and I'm a person that I have a hard time to kind of, how can I say with nice words, to, I have a profound respect to everyone, but before kind of bend towards someone and to say, okay, you're a special being, you need to prove it, not because I'm better than you, but because I need to have a real experience of it. I've met many lamas and masters, many traditions, but there have been few that have touched me on a deep level, such as Lama Ganchen Rinpoche or Trijja Rinpoche. And this, for me, every time is something that touches me deeply. So to have like such a special being, and that in our tradition is with us actually for many lives. If you look at those paintings where there is Vairocana, and we go on the top, then there is like the sixth, the seventh that you see. There is like a man on a horse. That is the first life of Trijja Rinpoche recognized formally, and he was taking care of the horse of Buddha Shakyamuni, and who. And then from that there are all the lives, and then there is a Tisha and many other important lives of Trijja Rinpoche. And the last one is represented here. And then there is Trijja Rinpoche that now is living in America. And for me is one of the most special people. And for me, the fact that I was able to go to visit him twice this year is something for which I rejoice deeply, for all of us, because you know me and Lama Caroline, but the fact that behind us we have someone to which we can rely on every aspect also of our spiritual path is for us very important, and also the fact that he shared another important master of our lineage that shared the wishes of New Year is Babon Rinpoche, who is always present with us on every aspect. And the other day I was talking with another Lama, Sherab Rinpoche, who was here to give the commentary on Lama Tara Chittamani, and probably this summer will come back here again. And talking with him was like, what are you doing there? Yeah, we've done this activity, and he did this comment, there, at your center you never stop, huh? So it's really nice as years pass that we were able to continue with what Lama Ganchen created, which is this incessant activity of Dharma. There is always something, and this is something quite unique. Usually you do like an event, an activity, once in a while. Here there is always like an infinity of things, like in a constant flow. And so to see that from 2021, and there is always an increase in activities, then it means that we put energy there, and behind these numbers there are us, there are the experiences that we live, there is the energy that each one of us generates, and this is the important thing. And not only, there are also other activities that there are external groups that come to the center. There have been 800 people coming to the center doing activities that are not strictly related to the organized by the center. So it's all groups which are like similar, not similar, but someone once proposed, why don't you do courses of tantric sex? No, it's not our reality. Who wants to teach it, you can do what you want, but it's not our reality. Also, all the courses that are there, that's a beautiful thing, because it's like groups that bring their own disciples, students, with things that are quite similar, but it's also a way for these people to get in touch with the reality of this center, and so there is always a very positive effect on people. And so 800 participants are quite a notable number. Then about publications, also this is very interesting. There have been handouts, books, and sadhana in very different languages, English, Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, and behind of this there is an immense amount of work. Some images of sadhanas that we have done. This 2,205 videos is updated to the last days with more than 11 million visualization views, and we remember the effort that it's there and that will still be there. So the channel has been divided also in English and Italian and Portuguese and Spanish. And so it's really an immense amount of work. And also was really nice the idea of creating these 4 channels where we have the Italian, the English, then we have inner education, but then I think there is also Spanish.
No?
Something that we realized about YouTube. Initially, when there was much material, we put everything on a single channel, but then having like a quantity of videos that grew more and more, who is part of that. Rarely when I get into the channel and I'm kind of showing it to other people, I have a difficulty to find things. So some people have done an incredible amount of work to maintain the channels. The easiest part is what I do. It's just I speak, but then there is who records, who does this and that. There is an immense amount of work from, okay, Lama did Wednesday at Kumpen. What title we give it? And there is an immense amount of work to prepare it and also to separate the channels, to facilitate access. And then we try to maintain a way of communicating, to be more communicative as possible, maintaining the coherence, that we have towards social media. So to communicate in a way that doesn't create like a sort of addiction, that you're always there with that constant contact, but trying to share the minimum with the respect of the mental space of everyone. And so also for this, the channels of WhatsApp were created so that that everyone can go and check when he wants.
Sì, mi diceva appunto la Carminia prima che c'è
Carminia
anche
was
un
saying before
portale,
that we should also remember
dove ci
the
sono
Shopify, where there are
Spotify, scusa,
Spotify,
dove ci sono
where
insegnamenti di Lama,
where there are teachings from
dove
Lama,
ci sono molti accessi,
where
molte
there are many
visibilità,
views,
sono molto
accesses. There are
Adesso parliamo dei soci. Allora, i soci stanno aumentando. E stanno aumentando anche chi rinnova la tessera associativa e
so talking about the members, they are also increasing more and more. And
soci.
in 2024 we have had
Abbiamo la fortuna adesso perché questi dati
1,430
sono
members.
precisi,
And these
ma per alcune
numbers are
problematiche tecniche
precise,
poi magari
but
ci
then
sono
for
delle
some
discordanze.
technical
Comunque il
problems there are
dato
some
sono dati
discrepancies,
ufficiali,
but this is official
però abbiamo avuto la
data.
fortuna che Steve ha
And
preparato
Steve luckily
online
prepared
la
online the
possibilità
possibility
di fare la
of
tessera
doing the
annuale.
membership card. Just one thing on this. When we have been to the Buddhist meeting, there has been like 3 days of conference. One of the most difficult things is that there was the most basic things for each center is that you should do the membership card, but the bureaucracy that is behind that is quite complicated. I don't know if you have ever got into complicated bureaucracy in Italy, but doing the membership cards in Italy is basic. I won't say impossible, but let's say very difficult. So there is like really a whole bunch of things to do so that they are right in front of the law. And so Steve sat there with studying the normative and how to do it. And after much effort, we were able to do a system to just do these membership cards that is simple, that is accessible, and that respects all the bureaucracy and normative things. And so Steve, after many years, he really put a lot of effort in this because between one thing and the other, and so he created something that when we use it, we don't see what's behind it. What I wanted to say is this, because we just put in the information and we put the request and it's just that. Then there is a whole process to see the approval and a whole complication. Okay, it's part of it, we respect it. I rejoice that this system is finally completed, that we have been waiting for like 1 year and a half. So beautiful that we have it. Also because the members are increasing, so Lama was giving some hints about this. It was an event of particular relevance, the participation of Lama Michel at the Congress, because it was an important moment of discussion in those days. Some central points were touched about the identity of the centers, and in particular about tradition, lineage. One important thing for us to understand, also here there is much to rejoice about on our side, is the fact that Buddhism in Italy is in a very delicate phase, because Buddhism has come to Italy from masters that have come from the west, from the east, like Lama Ganchen, like Lama Yeshe, Lama Tsoppa. Lama Yeshe founded the Pomaya center. Many masters that have come there and that sustain this, and one of the difficulties that many realities now are facing is the continuity, Because what happens is that the masters, the elders are not there, or fewer and fewer, and not always you're able to give continuity, both from who is teaching, giving transmission, and both from who is taking care of administration and the center, the participants. There is much difficulty of renewal and continuity. And so I wish really everyone to overcome every obstacle that is there and to give to keep this continuity at best. We've had this luck that Lama Kanchen Rinpoche from the beginning has had this wisdom to pass the stick and to make way before it wouldn't be there anymore. So with Lama Caroline, with me, no, go, do. And this often doesn't happen like this, and so until you're there, you just stay there and do the thing on your own way, and then when you're not there anymore, then you're missing continuity. Not only from the point of view of who's teaching, but also from who is participating, and the center continues to work. And one of the things that there are about 60 centers, and about 98%, their main difficulty was the lacking of new people, of young people also. And luckily, here we are one of the few exceptions. It gives me a lot of joy that when in the Gompa I see from like very young kids to old people, and this also means that the thing is alive, and this is something beautiful of which we can really rejoice. And it doesn't mean I would like to be not the exception, I would like to be the rule, but unfortunately it doesn't always happen like this. So there are many realities in Italy, very beautiful, very special, for which I rejoice profoundly, and there is also an important time of crisis for this. So after also the pandemic, many centers weren't able to recover, and so the fact that here the center is working and that we are here and so on, for me is a sign that okay, we are doing something good because it works, and so we rejoice about this, we rejoice about the fact that we're able to continue. So the UBI is doing an important work for me, that it's like to present centers questions that are not simple. So how do you imagine your future? How does the continuity process happen, both from the teachings and administration? And it's something also important to have this kind of awareness.
Sì, poi all'interno dell'UBI ci sono delle agende, si chiamano. Ho evidenziato al momento solo 2 agende.
Then within the UBI there are also some agendas.
Perché
Lama Michelle is giving formation courses about the awareness about living and dying. And then ecology agenda. Our center of Albagnano has been visited from experts, and they've seen the environment where the center is, and they really put a lot of value on this environment and wanted to do some proposals. Something that I would like to add, because if we had to give numbers, then it's to search for them, it's more complex, but there are huge numbers. That it's also about the work that it's done outside the center, so also in the gardens, taken care of with awareness, with an attitude, which is interesting because we have like a tendency, okay, we have the tendency of having gardens as something to please our sight, and here there is an awareness mainly guided by Pete, to have a harmony towards all the species of plants, water, and so on, put together in order to do, for us also to be able to participate better and to be part of nature in a better way. And I wish that in the following years we will be able more and more, it's the capacity to produce our own food. This is something that for me, the main obstacle that we have at the time is that the majority of us are people from a city and that we are not able to work the, the earth. But it's something that really will be good for everyone, and slowly we will get there.
Solo un cenno perché
So just
noi
a
come
hint,
centro
because we
usiamo
as a center use the
abbiamo
8
in 7
per
anni
thousand,
realizzato
and in 7 years we have
di cui
realized
7
23
sono
projects,
stati
of which
gestiti.
7 are about management of expenses.
Una cosa, parlando di questo per rigioire, lo dico io che sono coinvolto in prima persona almeno.
So speaking about rejoicing, and I'm involved in this, when as we finished the temple there was something that wasn't finished. There was
Perché si è fatto tutto, abbiamo fatto, però mancavano i soldi per finire l'ultima parte.
the fire prevention system,
Un costo non indifferente.
and that is something that is quite expensive. So finally, 2 weeks ago, it got concluded. So we still need a very small part, like the small little block, but then all the rest has been done.
Perché non è stato ovvio far parlare quelli delle pompe con quelli elettricisti. Comunque ci siamo arrivati e quindi anche questo
And so also this,
carine che avendo fatto
one of the nice things is that having done this fire prevention system, because as we get out from up to the stupa, there is like a sort of entrance to a sort of cave, the Tutankhamun, I call it, where there is that wall with a stone thing. Inside there, there is like a cement pool for 100,000 liters of water for fire prevention, and the part of those who take care of the woods, they wanted to check because they also would have liked to keep the access to these pools to protect the woods around. So it's also really nice to protect the surroundings like this.
Ora c'è l'Ebu.
Then there is also Ebu, and I think Carlotta is somewhere there. I don't know if you want to say something.
No, no, vieni, vieni, non so niente di Ebu.
Grazie Cinzia, grazie Lama. Buonasera. Gentilmente Cinzia mi ha invitato.
So gently, Cinzia invited me to give me a brief overview. From 2021, we have been members of the Buddhist Union, and it's an organization that is like an umbrella for all the Union Buddhist national and in Europe. And from 2023, we have been, as Kumpen Lama Ganchen, also part of the Directive Council of Europe. And so the mission is to facilitate the international exchange and to promote friendship, spiritual friendship. We have 7 members in the council, then about 60 organizations and associations, and about 15 or 16 about the National Union Buddhist. We have different committees also taking care of women Buddhism in Europe. We have projects on education, especially Teach Peace, which is a program to also which some of us have participated, and we have Rainbow Sangha, which is for Buddhists in Europe. Then we have a network of ordained Buddhists that are now following a course also for on this network to group all the activities and the monks, and who wants to be in different states and to have a recognition. And we're also trying to develop some activities for young people, for youth,
national unions.
and to push among the various national unions. We are active in a magazine, podcast, we have our own mailing list, and in a close future there is an event that we will have in April, where I hope that also La Michelle will participate, where we will celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Italian Union Buddhist, in the European Union Buddhist in Vienna, and there with experts of Buddhism, will be more oriented towards lay experts who will be there for the day to talk about how Buddhism will be and developed in the following 50 years.
Visto che già adesso siamo arrivati a questo compleanno dei 50 anni. E tutti benvenuti a vedere il sito.
So all are welcome to check the EBU website if you need more information. I remember that Carlotta is part of the committee of the European Buddhist Union. So on our side as a center, it has also been a choice to contribute to what is done. Cinzia and Aldo do a lot inside the Italian Buddhist Union, and I'm talking about hundreds, thousands of years of various meetings. Aldo is part of the directive committee of the UBI.
Nell'Unione Buddista Europea, e questo usiamo così questo termine brutto per quello che mi viene in mente adesso, risorse del centro,
So
della nostra comunità, che stanno anche prendendo cura e offrendo.
it's resources of our center that are also offering to broader external realities, such as the Italian Buddhist Union and European. And something that, okay, next year maybe we can put on some numbers, maybe. Lama Kanchen Rinpoche every year has always done an incredible amount of ceremonies and prayers, because one of the things that his masters taught him, Kyabche So Rinpoche, is that philosophy is nice, meditation great, but you need to generate positive energy with various ceremonies, because this gives an important sustain to our life. And Magancha Rinpoche has always done here and also in other parts an enormous quantity of these pujas, and it's also a way to give sustainment and to various spiritual communities that are also in Nepal, in India, and it's really a lot of stuff. And Rinpoche before was doing everything with the resources that we will find in a way and the other, and I did some calculation the other days about what was invested also for doing all these pujas and so on. And Lama Kanchen, it's what he sustained by for every year was about like 60,000 euro dedicated to all of us. So because now it's up to me to manage all of this, okay, we have to do it together, because I honestly don't know where to find all that money. Sorry about the practical part of the thing, because when you go to a monastery with 800 people, you go there and you also make offering to the monks, and also with money, asking them for doing a certain ceremony. And so the idea is that we are all able to participate. We started with Nepal, where also last year we did more than 45 days, where every day you would do different ceremonies of healing, protection, health, and so on, that are done and dedicated to all of us. So these days they are doing them in Nepal, and so it's really nice that we're able to continue with this thing. And so this is all thanks also to the help of each one of us. And so all this part of the pujas that we're doing. And one last thing, and then we stop. Dharma in 2025, okay, there are some anticipations. There is the retreat of Tara Chittamani, Rabnachemmo, Dharma and Nature, Daxin Shakdeb, that we continue, inner education. With the theme this year will be breathing, breathe, music and spirituality together on the path with Lama Michel Rinpoche. Then there would also be Lama Caroline, and this is one I would like to ask Lama Caroline to come more and more. I know that there are many centers in the world that need it. That's Spain, there is the sun and the south of Spain, but they are in the front of the sea. But here, the more you can come, the happier we are. We're doing many activities. And so this is a request.
E poi volevo condividere velocemente che ho creato questo nome.
And I created this name together on the path for two reasons. One is a very practical thing and quite practical and quite selfish, sorry, but for me it's quite difficult that every time that there is a weekend on teachings, what we will be on, what is going to be the theme, every time finding something. And actually the most important thing for me is to be able to do a path together, a formal path, where you do the first steps of the path, because this is something in which our tradition it's really there. Like Lama Tsongkhapa did like a manual for enlightenment, so like from the first step towards enlightenment, step by step what needs to be done, like it's Namrim. So the gradual stages of the path. And the idea that I had and I want to put in practice, starting from this year, the first one will be in March, is to do at least one weekend every month to go on with these teachings, where we start with the first steps of the path until what is the enlightenment, and then there are all the super detailed steps, and it's one of the most important teachings that is usually transmitted. But so not to do just one weekend of Lambrim, but to take it slowly, and my idea that in order to complete it all we will need at least 2 or 3 years. So my idea is to start now, and personally for this year I'm doing a consistent effort to stay here. So the next journey that I will have far, let's say, will be in the middle of August to go to Tibet. But before that, I will mostly stay here, aside from exceptional cases. But I don't have many plans to move. I'm just planning to stay here as much as possible and take care of the center and do all of this together. Teachings, retreats, and so this is like a course for a very important path to do together. And so also on this I would like to ask who really wants to practice the Dharma with some seriousness, with some it's a great opportunity that we have to do it together, to take time and space to do it. And this is something for which I rejoice about a lot. And then
Questa è una cosa bella che è da tempo che si è parlato, finalmente siamo riusciti. Noi
we have talked a lot about this.
è stato fatto la sadhana per l'uso all'interno del Gompa.
There is the sadhana to use inside the Gompa, because often it happened that we printed the books for to use in the Gompa for the practices, but then often you need to reprint them, so we wanted to make a nice edition, and somehow there will be some contradictory ideas from the point of view, okay, we need to print the prettier for the temple, but no, if we print it here then we also need to reprint it. Then eventually we found a solution. Okay, we make a really nice version, but that is for the Gompa, that it's very clear for the Gompa. So yesterday it arrived, the first day of the year, the Guru Puja, which is the first sadhana that it has been done for use in the Gompa. Then we will also need to do the pocket version to have also at home, we will have like in a different color that you can have it at home. But we are very happy that we have this version to use in the Gompa. And I would like to also share something which is also many years ago I made a request. I expressed a wish and I had the support first of all from Lama Ganchen Rinpoche, then from all the others that continued. That is the request that the teachings will be free and that the activities of Dharma will be all free. It was like a time where I was giving different teachings and there would be people sometimes coming, sometimes not coming. Why did you come there and not here? Ah, no, because like with the money I need to organize myself a bit, because like at the time with the teachings there was like a fixed amount which was to cover the expenses of the center. So in my own life I never paid for any teachings, but there has never been there a teaching where I didn't make an offering or I gave something. So we are giving all teachings for free. Initially there was much resistance from the point of view of organization and how do we pay the bills and all the rest. And then we said, okay, let's try at least. Okay, let's try. Now 10 years at least have passed and we are still here. But it's a challenge that it's non-indifferent and something that I rejoice about, that we are here, but keeping the center up with all the activities, it's a challenge that it's really not so small, and this is possible thanks to the help of everyone. So something that I ask about also is the awareness in each one of us that we make the difference. That if all the activities are done and if we are able to be here and all the rest is because each one is doing its part. And so also what I'm learning to face my own taboos, and one of the things that for me is a taboo and I really have a difficult time is to ask for money. I am like, okay, if we go out and eat together, I would like more to pay for everyone rather to ask everyone to pay. But actually, the main point of the Sarva Dharma is not an economical reason for the sustainment of the center, which is also a necessity. The generosity garden that we have is not just an economical thing, because otherwise, okay, we will close. But it's mainly for me of a change of paradigm, which is going from a mode where I pay for what I receive to where I offer. I receive freely, but I pay not because I receive, but because I offer. So it's going from the weight to having to pay, to the joy of having to offer. And it's two things that are completely different. Energetically, karmically, many aspects is very different. So when we sustain the center, we are sustaining all these 1,700, I don't remember how many activities. Everything that happens, we put the energy there. And so it wasn't scheduled to talk about this. Yes, it was okay. But like on my side, it's something that I really care about, because unfortunately, as from the time that I got to Italy to teach, talking about the 3 stages of the path, maybe some of you were present, and I was there, really studied it well, made all the structure of the course, lesson by lesson. Lama Ganchen told me one day, this course you're doing, very nice, beautiful, but remember, your priority is not this. Your priority is administration. Take care of the center. Then, in some years, yeah, maybe you will be able to delegate to others, but you will have to understand how everything is done. So, For many years I've been in the part of sharing Dharma, but also in the part of very mundane and earthly, because you cannot call the Enel. We pay the electricity bills with prayers and blessings. No, no. You're apping for inner enlightenment with outer enlightenment.
Quando io ho fatto questa richiesta che gli insegnamenti fossero
So when I made this request that the teachings would be free, it was starting from the fact that for centuries Dharma got spread in Tibet, starting from the fact that those who would receive the benefit would also share the necessary resources. And I believe that if they've done it for centuries in Tibet, then why can't we do it here? And I've seen that the greatest obstacle that is there for this is a paradigm in which we are, of our reality, that it's very individualistic and very auto-referential, where I pay for what I receive and I pay for what I need. And we more easily pay for something and more easily have the weight of having to pay rather than the pleasure of being able to offer. We don't have this very diffused mindset. So it's something that bit by bit we have to change, and I thank everyone that is participating to this, but we need to sustain and grow more and more, because it's not obvious to keep everything together. The bigger the bike is, the bigger you also need to. And from the economical point of view, we all know that it has not been an easy year for everyone, and also for the center, and inflation and increase of costs and food and so on. And so I ask everyone to find this awareness of changing the attitude from the weight of having to pay to the joy of being able to offer. And in offering, how much should I offer? When people ask, okay, what for us is not too little nor too much. So it really depends on the reality of everyone. So about offering time, material resources, knowledge, everything that we have the possibility to share. And one of the most beautiful things for me was to experience the joy that is there in being able to offer and to offer. And so on this, I ask with the heart that everyone can give continuity to this, because it's what allows all of this. Because when we put our own little glass of water inside that huge lake, our water mixes with that. So when one takes from the lake and drinks from that water, then it's also through us that it's possible. So if we have given offer to the center and someone has benefit from activities, from anything of the center, then it's also through us, and that gives us some merit. So we have made it until here, and it has not been an obvious path, and it will not be an obvious path. Keeping up the center, thinking about the benefit of Dharma and not about economic sustainability, because one reason that I've decided not to give teachings like that you have to pay, it's that then somehow the purity of the activities gets polluted somehow. And I rejoice that we're able to do this, but it's not obvious behind this, so there is a lot. And I ask everyone to have the awareness of being able to know the joy of being able to offer and participate in this. I would like to add that last year we made a campaign for information on all the modes of donation that can be done to sustain the center, to contribute. There is the Garden of Generosity, which is our main program to sustain the center. That asks for continuous participation in time, but there are also other ways, such as free donation for who can't take a commitment, monthly commitment or yearly, or you can do like a donation once in a while when you can. Then there is also streaming. There are many possibilities, and then there are also projects. And I would like to share, thank a lot all the people that participated to this project, to this fundraising, because in 2 months we reached the goal to bring the sadhana, which is very nice only for Gompa. I will read quickly the names of people because I also think it's important to thank personally, because in a traditional way.
Jürgen Hopp, Sarah Steines, Elkanen Rohier, Sergio Rudilosso, Deborah Lettieri, Tina Polenghi, Adriana Zucchiati, Hoppe Jürgen, Davide Zaffanella, Alessandra Soana, Amanda Araújo, Nie Yeo Seng, Anna Irene Pirodi, Marco Capaccioli, Moreno Petrulli, Luca Imbelone, Fernanda Mauro Piris, Andrea Trappè, Dennis Van Lint, Mauro Vigano, Gabriela Soriani, Yorgos Varvatsolis, Annalisa Alessio, Dennis Van Lint again, Roberto Galati, Famiglia Moreira Domen, Camilla Loyola, Carmen Iodici, Emanuela Albizzati, Giuliana Apoggetti, Simona Chiari, Chiara Baio, Jacqueline Hogengel, Valenta Stocco, Steve Fontaine, Massimo Bianchi, Giulia Vescovi, Lisbeth Herkens, Aldo Rabita, Claudia Pias, Eduardo Pastore, Laura Binda, Ivana Vizzaro, Antoinette Lusa, Claudia Canas, Giorgia Lizzano, Fernanda Mauro Pires again, Francesco Tessari, Anek Tabak, Giulia, ci sono persone che hanno fatto donazione continuativa per questo fondo, no? Enrico Tosi, Haroldo Trivelli e Emanuela Rebecchi.
The campaign is still, this phase is closed, but the fundraising is still open, you can still participate, and there will be other sadhanas. The next one will be the self-healing, and for self-healing also for environment that we want to do.
Sadhana per il Gompa, per uso Gompa.
For Gompa.
Ok, e questo è un vero ringraziamento a tutti, anche come l'ha detto, a tutti che hanno partecipato. Io vorrei anche fare un'anteprima della nostra
So I would also like to give a preview on our newsletter that will be launched tomorrow about the new projects of the year 2025. We have made a list of 8, so mostly it's 3 that have already been started. One is called The Words of Buddha, which is the print for the translation in English of the Kangyur.
Formato Page e Kangyur sono 2 parole che tante di noi non sappiamo.
Words that, okay, in the sense that one of the things that I wanted to put energy on from in the time of digital paper, I wanted to put emphasis on real paper. So kind of like believing impossible in impossible, believing impossible becoming possible. It's like being able to print on rice paper. So it was really difficult to find like a printer that was able to do that. Some tweaks, but the idea was to print both the original texts of our lineage in Tibetan that we don't have physically here on rice paper to put in the library, but there is also a very important work that it's done by an American organization to translate the Sutras of Buddha in English mostly, And so the idea is to be able to print the sutras of Buddha in the traditional formats in a Western language. So the idea is to be able to bit by bit to print, because there is like a really big amount of volumes to print, like 1500 volumes, and it's something that we will do. And this is a project inside the project of the library. We're still completing.
Questo è un progetto dentro del progetto della biblioteca. E il secondo progetto,
And so the second project is a project of sustainability of the center, which is with a battery for the photovoltaic system, which will help us to save really with the bills and with electricity. And this is also something that it's has like a higher value as a project by itself, but it's important, the participation. From the point of view of economic sustainability of the center, the most difficult things are fixed costs, and variable costs are even more difficult. So when we are put towards the uncertainty of electricity bills, then you know what can happen among one thing and the other, and the costs get higher, lower. So the goal that the center is setting is both from the point of view, also from the environment, and also economical point of view, is to be self-sustainable. So we have 100 kilowatts, but we were missing batteries. So with batteries, we will now be able to store the energy that we produce during the day.
Quindi questo è un po' anche un qualcosa che ritengo che sia veramente importante.
And this is something that I really believe that it's important. It's one of the projects that I like to participate to, because something like, okay, when you go and buy something, you get two and pay for one. So it's like you help the center to then save money later, because when you have a battery, then you have less fixed costs that are generated after that.
Questa è un'altra cosa importante.
il terzo progetto che
And the third project, that
è il progetto della manutenzione
it's a
straordinaria
project about extraordinary manutention of the yurta, which is the Mongolian tent.
il cambiamento della parte la copertura protettiva.
It's changing the roof and the wood structure.
È semplice, questo è semplice, anche è un po' non tecnico, diciamo.
It's quite simple, not very technical, interesting to participate to. Who has never done the experience, I invite you to go there and sit inside the yurta. Aside from the fact that it's a Mongolian tent, which aesthetically is nice and everything, but aside from that, Albagnano wanted to put it there and did a whole process of blessings, putting the mandalas and putting sacred images, creating a very special context. So there is a special energy there. It's a very particular place. So I invite all of you to go there and to sit, do a meditation, experience that place that is there close to the shop, that is very special. So it was mostly a way, okay, we have to take care of the yurta, let's do it together. And all the detailed information that Michel shared about the projects, you can find them on our website, How to Help, in the part How to Help. There are all the aspects. There is the Garden of Generosity. I also wanted to... There is also the online teachings part, and there is an enormous amount of work there to share the Dharma with who is not present. So it's very nice to see that people like to donate for this project, because also mainly, people that live far away, people in Brazil or here in Italy.
Potete vedere tutto nel sito, nella pagina.
And you can see all of that on the website, on the page How to Help. And also, I am at the disposal for clarification about the fundraising, if you need some clarification. So, I thank you, all of you. And as I said in the beginning, the reason for which we are here and for which we keep this all up together. Sometimes I've seen someone trying to open a Dharma center to earn money. I assure you that it's a bad idea, it doesn't work. And all those who tried, it went badly. It's a particular reality, it's not something like that. Anyway, I say this because the part about organization and sustainability, there is a lot of effort in that. And the other day, as I was talking with Franco about different problems of the center and so on, and I said one of the things that I feel very lucky about is that I don't get worried. I take care of what it needs to be done and I sleep well, because otherwise it wouldn't really be like that, because problems and things to think about, there are many. But why do we carry on all of this? Why there is all of this? What is behind of this? Because of what is happening inside each one of us. And that is what we need the most as a society. Because when I see around me or on the news, when I see what happens in many places, what worries me is the fact that, at least it seems to me, that we are going more and more towards a materialistic, autoreferential thing, the law of the strongest, and less to giving importance to sustain some kind of values and an internal path of inner growth. And that is what the world needs the most: more awareness, more love, more balance, more satisfaction. And really, I believe very much that the more we are in a time where there is manifest, so to speak, darkness, the more we need to put energy on the light. So that is why I believe that it's important. The more we are in an individualistic reality, the more we need a context where you can share and so on. And so personally, I am very proud in a good way of what we are doing here. And I really give you thanks with the heart to what you're doing, to each one who is doing any kind of thing that is part of this in any way, that is uniquely possible through the work that we all do. So I really thank you with the heart, because together we can. In a bit we will show this documentary. There is a sentence there that Gabriella says, "We are living inside the dream of Lama Ganchen Rinpoche." He had this vision, as this dream of realizing it, and we are living inside of it, and we are making it real. And for me, it's a big honor to be able to be here and to be able to be together in this. And one of the things that Lama Ganchen Rinpoche always brought, and that I try at the best of my capacity, far away from his capacity, but I try really in my capacity, is this aspect where we are together in a familiar way, human, and not just something formal, institutional, and so on. In the beginning, with Lama Ganchen, when I started to work at the center a bit, he told me one day, "We need rules," because there was not even one rule. It was quite chaotic. And so Lama Ganchen said, "Okay," and I said, "Okay, Lama Ganchen, I've thought about these rules. Okay, great." And then he was the first one breaking them. But not necessarily him, but creating all the exceptions, because this and that. It was anti-institutional totally on many aspects. And then until one day I went to him Rinpoche, you asked me to put on rules. I still haven't told anyone. If you have exceptions, then we don't put them in act. No, okay. Then more and more with the years, he said, okay, we need this because we need to organize ourselves, but trying to not lose that human feeling of direct touch, of being together in a familiar way. And this is something for which I'm really proud to be able to maintain and that we can continue on this. So we say that this is all for now. I invite you to remember and to do this process that unfortunately it doesn't always come spontaneous, to generate joy about what has been there of positive. So at the beginning it's a bit artificial, but we need it, because the more we do it, the more then we are able to go back there to regenerate that positive energy, and it's something very important. Okay, so now we do some quick dedications, then we will take a break, then we have this documentary that has been done initially because I wanted to give a testimonial of the building of the temple, and then it became with time something more beautiful. So it's a pleasure to be able to share it with everyone, which is also a way to rejoice and to see Lama Kanchen and the story of this place, and to connect with all of this, and that we are part of this story. So it's nice to be able to go deeper on that.
Losan tempe dreme sasum ki drove munsel takto ne gyur chi kewa kunto yanda lamadang dralme cheki pela longche chi sadan lamgi yunte rabzone dorje change kopa nyurtov sho nimo dele tsendele Nime kuyan delek shin yinsen taktu delek pe kuncho sumki chingi lobo kuncho sumki ngodrubut sol kuncho sumki trashi sho.
At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the three jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realizations and to sprinkle the path of our lives with various signs of auspiciousness.
At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the three jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realizations and sprinkle all the path of our lives with various signs of auspiciousness. Trashidile.
Thank you, everyone.
Facciamo una pausa adesso di una
We will now take a break for half an hour, then we will have the movie. I got quite confused because the clock there is giving a different clock from my clock here, and I imagine that this one is more right, but I was following that one. So I thought I didn't know that I was late. Time is also relative like that.